I have accidentally been getting through the screen calling that Apple, the iOS latest update, has released, and I circle prospect, I cold call, and somehow I'm still getting through to homeowners, sellers, looking to see who possibly wants to sell in the future. My name's Adela. I'm here in South Florida, and I circle prospect. I have been doing this for years now. Let me just preface this by me saying that I use Mojo Dialer, and I do have my phone number whitelisted through Mojo Dialer. I even also have it registered with freecallerregistry.com. And I've had two numbers. I originally had three, canceled one. I still have two. And one I've had since December of 2023 and the other one January 2024. And this video is May of 2026. So you can see I've had the same numbers with Mojo. But this is what I've been noticing, and this is what I've been experiencing, and how I'm actually getting through the screen calling that Apple has. And maybe some of these will work for you, maybe even one. That would be awesome. But I also want you to start listening, paying attention, and being patient, and not immediately hanging up. Now, when it first came out, everybody was freaking out. I was freaking out. But at the same time, I was like, something's got to be done. I have to adapt. There was a point in time where I was calling, and in our private Facebook group, I was saying when I get screen calls, I just move on to the next number. But over the last 2 months, I've been experimenting because it's either do or die. You either adapt or you don't. And I'm always to constantly be changing and adapting. So I tried to figure out what it was that's making people pick up. There are two things that I want to really hone in on, really want you to listen to, really want to pay attention to, is that some of these people that still have the screen calling feature on will answer either before you have a chance to leave your name and the purpose of it or reason for your call. That will be after. Sometimes when you just say who you are and the purpose of the call, they'll answer. But one of the things I've noticed aside from that, like they'll still answer, is that they will answer right up until that voicemail beep finally goes. So you know how you call and it says, can you please state your name and the purpose of the call? You do, you wait, it says, okay. And it goes bloop, 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 bloop. It makes that whole sound. And then it'll say, sorry, the person is not available. If you'd like to, you can go ahead and leave a message and it'll beep. Right before that beep, I'm having people pick up the phone. There are many times from beginning to end in which the homeowner or the person that you're calling is actually picking up the phone. They're curious. They're taking their time to read the message. They're away from their phone. Maybe they're even away from their phone and just ran to it and answered it. So I am now waiting till that very last beep to finally hang up. So I'm actually getting people to answer in multiple of the stages, either right before leaving the message, during leaving the message, or you do your message and they answer. So that's one. And then the second one is after it says that that person is not available up until that beep for the voicemail. I'm still getting people to pick up during that. So those are two. Now, the other ways I'm accidentally getting people to answer is, and this is actually a trick, I don't know about accidental, but I have to give credit to Matthew Ryder. He just popped up on my YouTube feed one day on a podcast. It was a clip, so I'm thankful for that. YouTube definitely knows what I'm into. It was suggested, and his little snippet that he had other cold callers or students or whoever in his coaching or Zoom calls was when you say, if it was Eric, I think he said something like, hey, Eric, it's, and then he'd stop, which creates curiosity. And I don't even know if it was because of the screen calling or before the screen calling, whether it was when Google or the Android came out with their version of screen calling. So in my defense, I've actually played with it where I'll go, hey, Robert, it's Adela. And sometimes that screen caller will pick up Robert and not Adela. And when it says, okay, Robert, and I'm like, wait, that's not what I said. I said my name's Adela. And so then I realized because the screen caller makes mistakes, or the screen calling machine makes mistakes, the homeowner ends up answering and it's their name that was said. So if it was like Elizabeth and I said, "Hey, Elizabeth, it's Adela," it would say, "Oh, hold on, Elizabeth," or Elizabeth, and it would transfer, like say that I was calling under Elizabeth when I specifically said Adela. I don't know if it's my name, it doesn't pick up, but that also just goes to show technology is not perfect. It makes mistakes. It always glitches. And I always say that no matter what software, what program, what dialer, what computer, what device you're always using. So that actually ended up working in my advantage. Another way people have actually been picking up is just by being honest. I've done it different ways. I've done it with, "Hey, it's Adela." And the best part is like giving it a whole sentence. Like I will give it a whole paragraph. I will get a sentence and it cuts me off. So sometimes it doesn't even know what message to send to the recipient or the person that I'm calling. So for example, I've said, "Hey, my name's Adela. I'm a realtor here in Fort Lauderdale. I'm just calling about your property on, 123 Santa Monica Boulevard." And by the time I'm saying the address, it has already said, "Okay." And it doesn't even really transfer. I'm telling you, it's not 100% accurate. It doesn't understand what to say to the homeowner. So there's definitely some work to be involved on their end. But in the meantime, I'm just going to be doing and testing and trying and just saying different things. I've even experimented where I've even just said my name, Adela, or sometimes I'm like, "Oh, it's a private matter." So you can experiment. I've experimented. I continue to experiment. I've actually even just said, "My name's Adela. I'm a broker." And I'll say my brokerage name, and some people answer. And I also say this because I sit here, I do now anywhere between 30 and 40 hours a month. I was doing 40, but because I'm getting really busy with running ads, I brought it down to 30 hours a month prospecting. But I want to say at the end of the day, I have nothing to lose. Like I'm going to try different ways to get people to answer my call, because if they want to speak to me, they will. I mean, my caller ID already says who I am. And that's also why I wonder a little bit if they're like still wanting to talk even when after I say who I am and it goes to voicemail right before the beep, people still answer because they're also looking at the caller ID, or maybe even before the screen calling kicks in, they still answer. So there's just so many more opportunities. I would just say, give it a shot, try different things, see what works, see what doesn't. Don't hang up right away. Be patient. See if by chance the person does end up answering before the beep. Because I've had so many times where I've just called, even if it's not screen calling, but it's like legit caller ID on someone's landline, like a older person that maybe still has a landline, or anybody who's young who still has a landline, and it says my actual caller ID. People will answer. If they want to talk to a real estate agent, they will talk to a real estate agent. I'm not here to twist anyone's arm or to keep them on the phone, as long as possible, to see if I have an opportunity. Either they're selling or they're not selling, and that's all I'm looking for, needle in the haystack. And if you are new to cold calling, don't even know what to do, I personally don't call FSBOs, don't call expireds, don't call divorce, don't call FSBOs, don't call probate, even though I'm technically probate certified and I did do it, but no longer. I circle prospect, and I did do an entire video. You can get my script. I'll go ahead and link it right here. Watch that next.